Hey everyone, Pioneergirl08 here. Hope y'all are having an amazing, fun, and safe day. So last week I did the CAS version, Create a Sim version of this Stereotype challenge that I am doing, and I actually misspoke and was saying that it was designed to be for the CAS, and then I was going to do a room build. And actually, the challenge, looking back at it, and I wrote it in my notes, but I forgot to write down who it was that suggested or was running this challenge, but it was designed to that you create, I think it's a room actually, and I'm sitting here doing a whole house, but anyway, it was designed to be, my apologies if you heard that alarm in the background. That's my alarm for my husband's medicine. He's that's already been taken care of. I just had to turn it off. But anyway, the idea of the challenge is to design a room based on stereotypes that you deal with. And so anyway, I actually am doing both the Create a Sim and not just a room but a whole house. So right now as you can see, I am in the process of creating the house itself. So I'm just kind of playing around with it, just trying to decide kind of what I wanted to do. And I did speed through this part, and actually I did do fast speed on the entire recording, but on this particular part of the build, because it is just the building of the house itself, I did that on a even faster, I don't remember the speed I used, but even faster speed, so I could, get through it as quickly as possible. And then we'll get into the actual design of what's what I want to say design, but that's not right. The actual decorating of the house, interior decorating of the house, I guess it were. Yeah. So what I did actually with the build is I kind of took like a little bit of my current house and I kind of flipped it side to side, and then I made a few other little changes, so it's not like 100% the same as my current house, but it's kind of got a very similar layout to it. As far as the designing of the inside, I kind of ran into the same problems as I did with my sim, who you might see later on in the build kind of popping up, kind of, I think at the tail end you might see her in parts of it kind of standing around. It's hard for me to really think of stereotypes that we've had to deal with and then translate that into like the house. And all that. We don't really have a whole lot of people. I don't really know that I've had to deal with any stereotypes with the house, and we don't really have a lot of people over to the house. We generally don't have people over, not because we don't want to, and it's not just because of the whole COVID thing. I know that kind of put a nix to having people over, having people come over, but even without that, we just generally don't have people over. It's not that we wouldn't welcome people, the opportunity just never really arises. And so I kind of did just like with my sim, I kind of did a combination of sort of stereotypish type stuff that we've kind of dealt with. One of them is the idea that we've kind of run into a couple times. Not a whole lot, and this is all stuff in the past, nothing recent. We will sometimes have somewhat nice, not like super expensive, fancy, but somewhat nice furnishings in our house, and so people think that we must have a decent amount of money because of that. And the truth of the matter is, a lot of times when we get nice furnishings or things like that, it's basically a hand-me-down. It's because family members or whatever has decided that they're going to upgrade their stuff, and they're like, hey, do you want it? And you're like, sure, yeah, as long as it works for us. Sometimes there's stuff that just doesn't work for us, and we just have to say, yeah, sorry, no thank you. But so the fact that we might have nice stuff is not necessarily indicative of the amount of income we have coming into the home on a regular basis. So, yeah. I think another thing that we've dealt with also from time to time, and this is more like with like immediate family, not like immediate living in the household, but immediate family in town. I think they kind of see us as kind of slobbish in a way, I guess. I don't know. I don't think that's actually the proper word, because I don't think they think we're like slobs, in like filthy slobs, but I think they look at us as just kind of being, messy and, all that. Like I said, this is not anything we've had to deal with recently. So for the house, I kind of went with a combination of like kind of combination of somewhat like I went with for the furnishings and the appliances and stuff like that, I went very like super basic type of thing. But then for some of the but then for other pieces of furnishings, I went more expensive and kind of. And then, of course, like I did a lot of clutter in the house. I don't normally use that much clutter in my house. I generally tend to just keep it very basic. So I went with a little bit more clutter in this build than I usually do. I also went with like I'll kind of like leave like some of the laundry clutter and things like that. And the reason for the basic furnishings and appliances is because a lot of times in our situation, we've actually, whenever we've whenever we've moved, we've always had to have help in getting a house, and it's generally we end up having to look for as cheap as we can possibly go, but still work for my husband who is in a wheelchair, and so it's like, how cheap can we get? How basic can we get? And trying to keep the price down as much as possible and all that. So I went with very basic furnishings, very basic house with kind of a gray wall and I forget what the floor that I used. I think might have been wood, because my husband likes wood floor, so I think I went with wood just for the fun of it. And then some of the more expensive furnishings. Sorry about bouncing all over the place with the camera. My mouse likes to try to stick, and I bounce around. Whenever I move my mouse, the house seems like to bounce around. So I wanted to kind of bounce and spin and everything else. But anyway, back to what I was saying. The more expensive furnishings was kind of based on the idea, like I said before, people thinking that, well, you have nice furnishings, you must have a decent amount of income coming in. And then as you'll see later, the clutter kind of on the clutter, especially the clothes on the floor and everything, is kind of an exaggeration of what I say people, family really more than anything, seems to think of us, that we're messy and don't, that we're just like messy, for lack of a better word, slobby kind of people. And, I'm not going to say like I'm a super neat freak, but we do try to keep things neat and clean. We just happen to have a lot of stuff. And I think a lot of times the people that say this are very minimalistic people themselves, and so they see any extra stuff as being messy. They kind of go, they tend to think that we should get rid of a lot of our stuff and just go real minimalistic and things like that. So there's that. So that's kind of basically kind of what I went for with the build. Because like I said, it was hard for me to really try to put any of this stuff and translate it into what I should put into my house, because that's the closest thing we've had to deal with as far as any type of quote stereotype. We just don't really deal with stereotypes so much. We haven't really had to deal with it all that much. Probably because we don't really fit into any cliques or any type of thing like that. Anything that we don't really fit into any stereotypes or anything that would yeah, anyway, I'm rambling on and I don't even know where I'm going with what I'm saying. So anyway, I think I am going to stop talking here, and I will put on some hopefully decent background music, and we'll let you enjoy the rest of the video, and we will catch y'all in the next video. If you like the video, please leave a comment down below, give it a like, subscribe to my channel. I appreciate it all very much. And if you are already subscribed, thank you. I greatly appreciate it. Don't forget, when I get to my 50 subscribers on the channel, I will be doing an intro/Q&A video. I do have a few questions lined up, but if you've got one that you want to add to the list, I will see if I can get it in, and we'll see how things go. We'll catch you later. Goodbye.